Well, okay, let's keep the lights on here today. Come on into O'Reilly's Corner. Do me a favor. Just smash that like and subscribe button on your way in the door. And come on in. All right, today, let's talk about something that I don't even believe that I have to talk about this. It's something that should not be controversial in the United States of America. Making sure that only we, American citizens, vote in our American elections. I mean, now who can oppose that? Yeah, you know who. Of course, we're talking about the SAVE Act, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, which aims to ensure just that only we Americans vote in our American elections. Pretty straightforward. The bill did pass in the House, but only four Democratic congressional representatives out of 212 voted in support of this act that only have an American citizens vote in American elections. 4 out of 212. 208 Democratic members voted against this common sense bill. A bill that the vast majority of their own constituents support. These congressional so-called representatives, they're not representing their own constituents' interest. They're damn sure not representing Americans' interest. Their singular, self-serving goal is to hang on to power and to hang on their jobs at any cost. Now, the bill goes to the Senate, where every single Democratic senator is going to vote against it. Every last one of them are going to vote against this common sense bill. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why are the radical left politicians fighting this common sense bill so frantically? Especially, as I said, when even the Democratic voters themselves overwhelmingly support voter ID. These career politicians will go to any length, say anything necessary, Chuck Schumer comes to mind, to hold on to power and to keep their jobs.
Democrats in Congress are fighting the legislation.
This is election rigging. This is voter suppression. The American people aren't going to stand for it, and nobody should vote for it.
And the Senate Democratic leader is calling the legislation a waste of time.
The SAVE Act is dead on arrival in the Senate.
All right, Mike.
I mean, suddenly verification is extreme. And if providing proof of citizenship does affect millions of voters, as the radical left politicians claim, well, it's just proof that something is seriously wrong. At the core, the SAVE Act does one simple thing. It requires proof of U.S. citizenships to register to vote. After that, you just have to show photo ID. That's it. That's it. Not a literacy test, not a poll tax, not some bureaucratic maze that you have to go through. Proof of citizenship. Easy to vote, hard to cheat. That's what this bill is about. That's all that this bill is about.
Americans support these measures, and that's because they work and they're common sense and they build trust into the system. It's common sense that our elections should belong to the American people, that they should be the ones who get to vote, whose votes are counted, that they get one vote, not more, not less. It's common sense to make sure that foreign nationals don't vote in our elections, don't elect our leaders, and have a say in how our country runs. They don't and should not be allowed to be trampling on the voice of the American people, and will no longer allow American citizens to be disenfranchised, to have their voices suppressed by criminals, by hostile foreign actors, and by illegal aliens that shouldn't be here in this country. It's a fact that non-citizens have been voting in our elections. They've been registered and they have voted. Each of the arguments that have been laid out to criticize this bill are baseless speculation from the radical left because they want illegal aliens to vote in our elections. They want to disenfranchise American citizens by telling them that their votes don't matter. There's only one reason that anyone would oppose this bill, and that's because they would want to cheat. They want illegal people and aliens in this country to be able to vote for them and to rob the United States citizens of their vote. And that's why they resist us at every single level when we're trying to deport people back to their home countries or stop them from committing crimes against the American people. That's why they do not support voter ID, proof of U.S. citizenship, or clean voter rolls. That's why the Save America Act is absolutely critical to our country's future. Because without secure elections, we lose what makes our country so great. And then when we lose that, we lose our country altogether.
The current federal law, when someone registers to vote, they check a box affirming that they're U.S. citizens. That's it. It's the honor system. The honor system. Check a box. The SAVE Act changes that. It would require states to obtain documentary proof of U.S. citizenship only when registering to vote, and just have photo ID when they actually do vote. That's it. Election officials would no longer have to rely solely on a checkbox. They'd have actual documentation. So look, let's dismantle this hysteria. The documentation could include a U.S. passport. Over half of us already have a U.S. passport. It can include a birth certificate. And this is a big part of the leftist politicians' argument. They say that it makes it hard for married women who have changed their name to get a copy of their birth certificate. I don't know. I saw a married woman on the airplane last week. I have no idea how she got past all of the hurdles of producing real ID. So passport counts, certificate of naturalization, when when a person becomes naturalized, they receive official documentation that they're now a U.S. citizen. That counts. A certificate of citizenship for those who derived citizenship through parents. That counts. Real ID. Many states have real ID. My state has it. It's basically compliant licenses where citizenship has already been verified. That counts. These are the documents that millions of us Americans already use. We use it to get a job, board a plane, apply for Social Security benefits, prove identity at the DMV. I mean, if you need ID to rent a car, cash a check, or buy certain cold medicine, why wouldn't you need proof to vote in the most powerful elections in the world?
I think it's pretty simple. Only Americans should be in a position to vote in American elections. It's still the responsible thing that we should be doing as elected representatives to make sure that only people that are eligible to vote in elections actually vote.
The leftist politicians like to cry it's already illegal for undocumented immigrants, undocumented, as if they were here, they had their documents, and they lost it. Now they're undocumented. I don't know. But they say that it's already illegal for illegal immigrants to vote in federal elections. Okay, well, it's also illegal to mug someone. But that happens thousands of times a day. What's your point?
Khadija Kenner, founding CEO of the New Pennsylvania Project, a voting rights and registration organization, disagreed.
We already have a voter ID law. It's been on the books for quite some time. It works. Only Pennsylvanians are getting registered to vote in Pennsylvania, and only Pennsylvanians who are eligible to vote are actually casting a ballot in Pennsylvania.
They go on to claim that the law could burden certain voters, especially people who don't have ready access to documents. In the meantime, almost every other country requires proof of citizenship to vote in their elections. Go figure, proof of citizenship, including Mexico, India, Germany, Canada, the UK. Almost every country requires proof of citizenship to vote in their elections.
I spoke with Florida Democrat Jared Moskowitz yesterday. He voted against legislation in the House, and I want to get your take on what he said about this. Listen to this. Are you going to vote yes for ID to vote?
I'm for photo ID. We have photo ID here in Florida. And so I have no problem with photo ID. What's being proposed is a separate, completely different identification just for voting.
Now, wait a minute, because the SAVE Act, the Save America Act, is requiring voters to show ID to vote. And they also require a citizenship so that you stay with the law and, in fact, only have American citizens voting. So, again, will you vote yes to that act?
Yes, again, there's no evidence that non-citizens are voting.
American citizens vote in American elections. So having an ID to vote would be in step with the law. So are you going to vote for the law?
If they put forward a bill that says you can use your driver's license or your state-issued identification to vote, I support that. The SAVE Act goes way beyond that. It would affect women whose birth certificate doesn't match their driver's license. It will depress turnout by requiring people to go and re-register to go get this new voter ID.
Congressman. That's not true.
This is about depressing turnout. It's not about making sure non-citizens vote.
Let them use their driver's license either, Congressman. The SAVE Act is a requirement for ID to vote, period.
Every time a non-citizen vote or someone who is not a U.S. citizen votes, obviously that cancels out the legitimate votes of an American. And it seems like Democrats want that to happen. We can't allow that to happen.
The radical left, desperate politicians go on to claim that many Americans, especially, and of course here it comes, especially people of color, low-income individuals and married and divorced women, do not have the required documentation and would face significant challenges in getting it. Why they would have more challenges to get it than us, I don't know. If I was a person of color or a divorced woman, I'd be more than insulted. I'd be pissed. This declaration that I'm either too incapable, too stupid, or both is a disgusting insult to my intelligence and to my status in life. And it's not our Democratic friends and neighbors, not this time. Over 80% of Americans support photo ID and support proof of citizenship when registering to vote. Leftist politicians in Congress who desperately cling to their jobs, national security, America, and the demands of their own constituents be damned, they're going to hang on to their jobs. I mean, first of all, as I've said, documentary proof of citizenship is already required for everyday functions in American life. You know, get a job, go into a building, go to DMV, rent a car, etc. We need it every day. Secondly, documents are easily obtained in every state. States have already established processes to request certified copies of birth certificate and other records. Third, as if that wasn't enough, this bill includes mechanisms directing states to create procedures for verifying citizenship efficiently and effectively. And finally, voting in federal elections is not just another civic activity. It determines national leadership, military policy, taxation, border enforcement, constitutional appointments, and so much more. It's just that important. It's the ultimate expression of our sovereignty. And you know what? It's the only expression that we get. You don't want your vote as an American citizen to be canceled out by a vote from an undocumented immigrant. There's no reason the United States should rely on a check box for something this important. Clarifying the standard nationally prevents patchwork rules across states, creating uniformity in federal elections, uniformity and integrity. So here's the bottom line, folks. The SAVE Act does not change who can vote. It does not change or alter eligibility standard. It does not redefine who's a citizen. It simply requires proof that voters in federal elections are American citizens. That's not radical. If public confidence in election matters, and it does, then clarity matters. Let's keep the lights on here, folks. And listen, thanks for stopping in at O'Reilly's Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed being here as much as I've enjoyed having you. And please, on your way out the door, if you haven't already done so, smash that like and subscribe button. I'll see you next time in O'Reilly's Corner. I'm Mike O'Reilly.